Hey there, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm super excited to announce that my very good friend Laura Warren, psychic medium extraordinaire, is joining us again this month in the Master Number 11 membership. Hey Laura,
Hey, Anne.
so good to see you.
Good to see you too. Beautiful
Yes.
as always.
Well, you know what? We always have fun when we get together. And I've been really looking forward to this topic this month. This is for November of 2019. Laura has come up with this brilliant conversation about calling your spirit back. And so I need you to elaborate on that a little bit so everybody kind of knows what we're walking into this month. I know what we're walking into, but I'm pretty excited to share it with everybody else. So first of all, I guess we need to talk about how we invest our energy in relationships. You know, Master Number 11s are notorious for being the givers, right? They're always the ones that are kind of putting themselves out there and getting themselves a little bit into trouble because they're over giving in relationships, and that has their consequences, right?
Absolutely. I look at 11s like they think they're the Energizer Bunny. Like they're
Yeah,
always connected to source. They think they can do everything. And, they're probably mostly right. But that way of being in relationships and trying to fill in the gaps all the time and helping can be really draining.
yeah,
We also kind of give a little piece of ourselves away when we let people cross our boundaries or when we're hurt by something, but we never get closure. We never get to deal with it properly. So
right.
there's an energy management kind of piece to this. And I'm excited to talk to the 11s about it because I feel like if they can get this straight and do it on a consistent basis, it really helps just feel a lot better in your everyday life.
Right. So, what are some of the signs that someone has overinvested themselves in a relationship? How do we know we've done that?
I would say that the first feelings are mostly physical. So just feeling very tired and exhausted all the time for no apparent reason. And sometimes, yeah,
Yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah.
yeah. And also feeling like we've kind of reached our limit as far as frustrations and just feeling anxious and agitated with our partners or with other people that we're in close relationships with, and agitation that really doesn't have another reason or we can't quite put our finger on it. So those are kind of some of the very early signs, and if we let these things go on longer, it can be a lot more apparent that there's an issue. We've got to do something about it.
So it's kind of like feeling a little bit trapped.
Absolutely. Or feeling like there's no answer, or everything that we do, it's not working, or we're not appreciated. So there's a lot of things that can come into play here. But I really feel like this method and this technique is a way to call back enough of your strength, enough of everything that you are, all your pieces back to you,
Right.
so that you can focus on your own life, and so that you can figure out these challenges within yourself and figure out how to fix a behavior.
Yeah, and you know, one of the common issues with the 11s is that they do overgive. They have a tendency to be the people pleasers, right? So at the end of the day, the 11 is a 2 and the 2 wants partnership. But the 11 is also the double 1 energy that says, I have to be unique. I have to be original. I have to be authentic, and I need to be accepted, right?
Right.
I don't want to fear rejection. I need to know that I'm in a very intimate relationship. I'm not talking just sexually connected to our partners, but it's related to you get me,
Mhm.
right? And so the 11 will sometimes overcompensate and give too much in
Mhm.
hopes that they're going to receive. And quite often they're misunderstood,
Absolutely.
right?
I
So they
really,
become fragmented.
yeah. And what I see in 11s a lot of times too is this feeling like they have a very wise, conscious energy,
Mm-hmm.
and very much a difficulty in understanding how other people don't think the way they do.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a conflict because you're giving of yourself, and you're giving and giving, and you're wondering, why isn't this working?
Yeah.
I'm doing everything I can. And I think we really, whether the relationship is a past relationship or it's ongoing, I think it's really important that we have all the necessary pieces of us so we can navigate our challenges successfully, instead of feeling like we don't have all the energy, all the strength to go through things.
Right.
And really, it's leaning on yourself. It's coming back to you instead of leaning on your partner for all these for help with these things.
Yeah, it's true because you know the 2 vibration is somebody who quite often needs to learn to validate themselves, you know, rather than looking outside of themselves for validation. So they tend to give away way too much of themselves. They invest way too much of themselves into the relationship, and then they end up feeling really flat and lonely.
Yeah, like another thing that I find really happens too is this feeling, like this unbalanced feeling. And it can come forward as an energetic kind of thing if that's what you're connected to, or it can come forward, as you say, just this lonely feeling like nobody really gets you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting to note too that a lot of 11s attract narcissistic partners, really controlling, right?
Right.
And they really lose themselves. So, I'm really hopeful that this discussion is going to help to maybe rescue some people from those patterns, rescue some of the 11s who tend to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again. So how do we break that pattern? How do we fix this?
Well, I think there's a few techniques in awareness. So actually using this like energy management kind of idea. But originally when we start on this path, I kind of look at it like we've got to put a big push of energy behind this to make this work.
Right.
So there's a method, there's a procedure that I'm going to talk about how to get yourself in that place. I would say beyond just the reset. So we know kind of about our energy reset, how you can get in nature and you can be near water and those kinds of things kind of help you clear your mind. It's a little bit beyond that. So it takes you to the next step so that we can kind of put a lot of force behind this intention. And then once you get past that, kind of hump.
Right.
Then you can kind of look at it as an energy management technique that you can use every day.
Okay. Is this something hard to do, or is this something everybody's going to be able to learn to do? Or I like keeping things really simple, girlfriend.
It absolutely is something anybody can do. I think the most important thing is awareness. So it's bringing awareness to this feeling inside of you. What are these feelings trying to tell me, and what do I need to do at this moment? How can I bring my energy back? Many people that have been through traumatic experiences with people they love end up in these places where they're just like in deficit and they don't know how to feel complete again. So that's why I say we just got to give this little push, but it's not hard. It's more about a collective awareness throughout the process and how to do each step successfully.
You find it interesting. I'm really excited about this because, I have a lot of 7 energy in my chart. Even though my growth number is an 11, I do have a lot of 7 energy in my chart, which keeps me a bit of a head case. And I have hard times sometimes tuning into my body. And our body's always telling us something, When I think about the pain that my body was in for so many years, and now when I look back, I know why, but I wasn't listening back then, right? But it was all related to my environment and what I was living with and going through and how I was choosing to respond to it. And I gave away a lot of my power, right? So this would be great. It sounds like this is going to be a really great tool to be able to tune into what we're feeling and maybe tune into the signs that we are giving away a little bit too much.
Right. And that 11s just can feel like more of a complete package for themselves. And that they know that it's okay. They don't have to give away so much of themselves, that it's just, it feels like they're without, or that they need to do without, or they need to suffer. And that's really a big message for them. I think that's life is not, it's not all about suffering, and you don't have to suffer for other people's happiness.
It's so true. Oh my gosh, it's so true. I know for so many years, I I grew up in somewhat of a depressed household, and it was difficult, but my norm was that the life kind of went along like this, right? And there wasn't a whole lot of happiness.
Yeah.
And, when you got something that was kind of good that came down the pipes, it was like, yeehaw, that's great. But then life kind of goes along like this until something else comes through the clouds, so to speak, right? But now, I've turned my life around in such a way that my norm is here, right? And I just expect things to go well. And I expect occasionally we're going to have some crap that's going to come down the pipes, and you deal with it, right? But the norm is to be happy. And that is something I think we miss. It's such an easy gauge as to whether you're on the right path, particularly in a relationship. If you're in a relationship that you're not happy in and you can't seem to be able to fix it, you're on the wrong path. It's pretty simple. So your level of happiness is a measure. It's like an internal compass that tells you whether you're on the right path or not.
Yeah. And I just really want 11s to feel like they don't have to continue to beat their head up against a wall. Like when it comes to
Yeah.
people, situations. Like this is about feeling like, you know, you've done your best and you've really gone into it with good intentions.
Yeah.
But none of us in any situation should give away so much of ourselves that we feel empty, or that we feel like we can't face the day, or we can't face
Right.
the next challenge. That's not what that's not what the universe is meant for any of us.
You know, the 11s tend to feel like they're not even from here, that they don't fit in, that they are different, that they don't really, you know, they don't feel good enough, they don't quite know where they fit, and they struggle with all that. So they tend to surrender big pieces of themselves just to fit in.
Absolutely.
And so I'm hoping that this technique that you're going to show us, and this experience that we're going to go through, will help us to realize that we don't have to put on conformity masks anymore. You know, we can be who we are, and we can recognize when we're giving away too much of ourselves. And maybe a good way to look at it would be, when we are surrendering too much of ourselves, that's a clue that we've just put on the mask, right? To cover up who we really are.
Absolutely.
So, and maybe the mask is just uncomfortable to wear. So let's, you know, have a trigger that tells us when that mask goes on. So, yeah.
I love all that. I just think that this is something that's very near and dear to my heart. I just think that all of us need to know that we're all here to just vibrate our own frequency, and we're not here to live anybody else's life or to make anybody else anything, really. You know, you just being you is going to absolutely create goodness and happiness in your life, and give everyone in your life everything they need, because the people that really love you just need you to be okay.
That's right. That's exactly it. That's absolutely it. We are all divine perfection until we choose to believe we're not.
Absolutely.
Right? So I choose to believe I'm divinely perfect. What about you?
Oh, I am fabulously wonderful.
I know it, right?
every way.
Well, we have to work at it, but you know what? That's the goal. That's the goal.
I just feel like I'm perfect for me, and everybody else, they can decide if they want, but I feel very good about who I am and where I am. So
exactly. And that's why I love hanging out with you.
Aww.
So this is all going to happen on Wednesday, November the 20th at 6 p.m. Eastern time. This is going to be something that will be happening in the Master Number 11 membership. So if you're not a member yet, you got to skip on over to www.master-11.com. And it's $11, right? It's $11 a month. You can join today, you can cancel tomorrow, no questions asked, it's all good. But I think you're going to get, if you are an 11, even if you're not an 11 and you think you can benefit from this conversation, you're more than welcome to join us. But again, you have to be a member of the membership. And what else was I going to tell you about that? If you want to learn more about Laura, you're going to check out Laura's website. It's laurawarrenmedium.com. And she's got a fabulous website. You can book readings with her online. I am testimony to the fact it will blow your mind, change your world, heal your life. It's awesome, right? You know, I'm still spinning from the last reading I had with you. So I really want to invite everybody to check her out. So we are looking forward to seeing all of you join us next week. And that is, again, Wednesday, November 20th, 2019 at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you join the membership. You'll get all the information necessary to be able to join the conversation. It's going to happen on Zoom. That means that it'll be a conversation that appears like this. While we're doing our discussion, you'll kind of be sitting on the sidelines there for a little bit, but then we do open it up for a full discussion where you're going to be able to communicate with myself and Laura, ask us whatever questions you have. However we can help make your lives easier and your journey brighter, that's what we're here for. So thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you, Anne.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week. Take care. Love y'all. Bye for now.